It's a scary time around the year in Southeast Louisiana. No, not because of Halloween. You know what's scarier than skeletons, witches, and Freddy Krueger? 1-7, a new quarterback, a governor who wants to get involved in coach picking, and our only hope for the playoffs playing a Thursday game on the road against an opponent they have struggled with in the past. Oh, and then there's the Pelicans, but they aren't scary. They're just stinky. So I guess it's time to freshen up with tricks, treats, and whatever we want to call Uncle Big Nick these days after last week's Pick'em performance. Hey, you want some candy? Okay, here you go. You can put the Dattitude podcast in your bucket because it starts right now.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.
Where you at, Dattitude family? I was going to wear my Halloween costume, but I figured I was scary enough, and we didn't want to scare all the new people away. Got some new people, some new members of the Dat family. That means that all you get for Halloween from us is Dattitude, episode number 434, presented by Evangeline Securities for a Thursday. That's right, Thursday, October the 30th, 2025. I had to go in there and make sure I had Thursday on everything. That is not easy to do. You know, when we don't do any Thursday. We haven't done a Thursday show since I think the last Thursday show we did was before, the Thursday before the Super Bowl. I think it was the last time we did a Thursday show. Anyway, we are doing a Thursday show because we are taking a little mini break on Halloween, which is tomorrow. Obviously, y'all know that. Although I will be working some in the morning and most of the day on Sunday. That's okay. Well, who are you? Why do we care if you're taking off? I am your host, Jim Derry. 35 years in the New Orleans sports media scene. I thank you for being a part of the Dattitude family. And if you're new here, you know what's special about our show? You know what's different about the show? You know why people want to be a part of the show? Because they can be a part of it. You don't just watch it. You know, it's just, no, you're actually involved in the show. You talk to us. We talk back. You type in your comments, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. We will show them live. We are here live. Normally, I can't say every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time because obviously today's Thursday and we're not doing a show tomorrow. Also got a programming note on that note, but usually, I should say, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 11 a.m. Central Time. If you're watching after the fact, which you can hear us, if you just want to listen to it, you can hear us on any of the major podcast platforms. You can get in touch with me on X at Jim Derry Jr. or via email at jderry@theadvocate.com. And if you haven't done so already, I got a slide for this. I never use it. I put it, there you go. I used it today. If you haven't yet subscribed to our YouTube page, please take a second to do so and give us a thumbs up, like, whatever it is. All right, what is on today's show? All kinds of stuff on today's show. We're cramming everything we normally do on a Friday here on Thursday, and maybe even a little bit of what we do on Wednesday, except our only guest is Zach. So we got a lot to talk about today. Of course, Shough and the Saints. Tyler Shough, his first start ever in the NFL professional. You know, it's so funny. People have their view. They let their views of something just get in the way of reality. You know, I had a friend of mine, and this is just kind of apropos. Okay, I had a friend of mine on Facebook yesterday saying, you know, I put the short up earlier. If you didn't see it, you go to YouTube page and check it out. But I did a short on the breaking news. Well, it was breaking news at the time of Tyler Shough starting. And I mean, people, the rat lovers they're just losing it. Well, Shough sucks too. I mean, they can't say anything good about Spencer Rattler anymore. So now they're just saying, well, Shough sucks too. Well, how do you know? I mean, and so that one of my friends who is a Rattler lover responds, well, Shough sucks. Basically, well, Shough sucks too. And I'm like, how could you possibly know that Tyler Shough sucks? And he responds back, how could you possibly know that he doesn't? And I'm, you know, I don't, here's what I do. And here, I do it with text. I do it with comments. if you say something stupid and just mind-bogglingly dumb, oftentimes what I will do is I will respond one last time, and then when you respond, I will mark it as read, even though I don't read it. If you say something that's just stupid and dumb, I don't care what you say after that. This comment between you and I, you're dead to me. I mean, you're not dead to me in the grand scheme of everything in life, but if you say something just stupid, that's just dumb. No one, not me, no one, we're going to get to it, but you can't possibly, he may stink. He may be twice as bad as Rattler was. He may have no future as a quarterback in the history. I mean, going forward in the NFL, he may not be good. He may never be good. The point is, not you, not me, not Kellen Moore. No one knows. Okay. I saw him play at Louisville. I saw him play back in the days at Oregon. You don't know jack crap. Okay. Again, I've been on the record. And look, I guarantee you, if he does stink, boy, they're going to be coming at me left and right. I told you he's going to suck. You were wrong again, Derry. I am not going on a limb for Tyler Shough at all. The only thing I'll say about Tyler Shough is it's time to make the change. It's 100% time to make the change. We know what we've been using hasn't been working, and it's time to make the change. That's all I've said. I haven't said one time, I think Tyler Shough's going to be great, and he's the future quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. Go back and please, for the love of God, go back. Someone find that, because I never said it. If you find it and you cut out a clip, I'll show it on this show. Because I never said it. But I guarantee you, if he stinks, I told you that. Well, good for you. You know, my own son's going to do it. I promise you. It's not, you're not going to be, I promise you. I haven't heard from my son, by the way. It's funny. I'm doing this on purpose to see how long it's going to be before he talks to me. Okay. He got so mad at me after the stinky Rattler performance against the Bears. And I'm not, by the way, I'm not harping on Rattler. I'm just saying, we've been knowing that the change was coming, okay? And that's all I've been talking about. We know that the change was coming. Simply the only thing I've said. Besides the fact that I'm pretty sure, I don't think the future quarterback is on this roster right now. I just don't. But we got to find out. So anyway, he sends me this long diatribe, and I told y'all about this. If you're regulars, you know this already. But he sent me this long diatribe of a text. You just waiting for him to have a bad game like that. And I just didn't respond. I just didn't want to respond. So I didn't hear from him all week. And then he stunk again on Sunday, got replaced. Haven't heard a word from him. It's an experiment now. I want to see how long it's going to be. I haven't heard from my son in 10 days or 11 days, whatever it is. It's an experiment. I want to see how long it's going to take now because I don't know the answer. I just don't. But that's, people hear and say what they want to hear and say. If you're a Rattler lover, you think that this is going to be, that Shough sucks too. And if conversely, if you don't like Rattler and you can't stand Rattler, they should have done this in week 1 and Shough's going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread and blah, blah, blah. And then there are normal people like most of us who aren't really expecting a whole lot, but we all of us in the middle, the common sense people agree it's time to see what we have. And that's where we are with the Saints. So that's going to be on today's show. Zach Ewing coming up in a little bit as he normally does on a Friday. He'll be here about 11:30. We got Damon Singleton coming up. Tell us it's a shorter weather segment. It's just Tulane this evening in San Antonio. And really, isn't that a dome? Don't they play in the Alamo Dome? Yeah. So, how many Tulane fans are going? Doesn't matter. We'll tell you what the weather's going to be like in San Antonio this evening. And if you're going to Tinseltown, what's the weather going to be like for the Rams and Saints? If you're headed that way and you're going to be outside, we'll tell you. And we talk a little bit about how long this weather is going to stick around. Beautiful. I mean, to me, I get to wear my hoodie for the first time this year. I probably didn't have to. I mean, it's chilly outside. It's in the lower 50s this morning. I didn't have to, but the AC isn't working right, and the heat. Not that I would use the heat, but it's not working right. So it's like 65 in the office. Put the I got to use that. Got to use the Cubs hoodie. So there you go. Bringing up my blue and red colors match. They just happen to match, by the way. It's not a Cubs koozie or whatever you call it. Stanley's. I know that's a brand name. Whatever. It's not a Stanley. I don't make that kind of money. I don't have a real Stanley. Anyway, what else on today's show? We're going to talk about LSU in a minute and the comments. Look, y'all know I don't do politics on this show. Okay. So when I get into this, I'm going to say this politely. Look, I can't stop anyone. I'm telling you right now, I'm probably not going to show any comments about what the governor had to say. I'm going to have my own thoughts briefly. I'm going to try not to get into the political realm because I really don't want to. But I don't think they can be ignored. Zach and I are going to briefly touch on it. We're probably going to spend 5 to 10 minutes on it, and that's going to be it. Whether I get into it again at some point, we'll see if I have to. But we cannot go without responding to what the governor of Louisiana said yesterday about the LSU coaching search. I mean, I don't know who the hell he thinks he is. Huey Long's been dead for, 90 years. He ain't Huey Long. Okay? Even if he was. He ain't Edwin Edwards. He ain't, I don't know who he thinks he is. Again, it's not, I promise you, it's not going to be a political statement. It's going to be what I think. Just stay in your lane, bro. I mean, that's kind of going to be what this is like. So we're going to get into that. And again, I'm telling you right now, if you want to comment on it, that's up to you. I don't want to see some kind of stupid backfight, political fight, because it has nothing to do with politics. And I mean nothing. This has nothing to do with politics. So, but I'm probably not going to show comments on Jeff Landry's, no other way to put it, moronic comments. They're stupid. I mean, who says that? What did he say? He said, quote, and this is quote from NOLA.com. This is in his press conferences today. Again, I'm going to get into it in a minute. No, I can tell you right now, Scott Woodward is not selecting the next coach. Hell, I'll let Donald Trump select it before I let him do it. Let what? Who are you to let anything? Am I wrong in thinking that what authority does the governor of Louisiana have with the coach of LSU? Am I missing something? I don't know. That's a rhetorical question. It's got me a little fired up. Again, I don't do politics on the show, but I think that's it's got to be addressed later on in the show. And I'm reading straight from who wrote this. A lease file, Matthew Albright and Wilson Alexander all contributed to it. When asked who would hire the coach, Landry said the LSU Board of Supervisors will, quote, come up with a committee and they're going to go find us a coach. The governor appoints members of the board. So I guess in theory, reading that, he can put whoever he wants on the board to hire who he wants. More talk coming up on that. World Series, they found a way to get me interested. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about the World Series this morning, but I will say this. The game the other night was absolutely, game 3 was absolutely and utterly incredible. I put a note to myself in here that I knew I'd forget. I know what it was. I got to give credit to the people at Fox for their song choice as they went to break. I don't know how many of y'all stayed up for game 3. It lasted till, I don't know. It was like, I think it ended at like 1, it was 2 a.m. Central Time now, huh? I don't think so. I think it was like 1:20-ish. Anyway, regardless, it lasted 18 innings. At the end of the 16th inning, their outro music to go to the commercial was, does anybody really know what time it is? And then at the end of the 17th, just thinking about tomorrow. It was awesome. They had a couple other ones too, but I thought I would bring that up. Anyway, kudos to Fox Sports. They've done a really good job with the World Series so far. And again, they've got me interested. So I didn't think they would. Last night, game 5 was fun. Zach and I made a futures bet on Vladdy to be the World Series MVP when he was plus 600. Now I think he's like even money, something along that. It might even be minus something. I don't know. So we'll talk more about the World Series probably next week when it's over. Game night tonight. Everything that I'm doing on a Friday is tonight. If you're interested, VSN tonight. I'll be in the parish. Chalmette and Slidell, District 7-5A. Chalmette fighting for a 7-5A championship. Slidell trying to keep themselves playoff eligible. All right. I want to tell you about my friends at Evangeline Securities before we go any further, because we got so much to talk about, trying to cram it all into about an hour and 45 minutes this morning. So before we do all that, Evangeline Securities, what about them? They're a company that can help you decide if it's the right time to sell your family-run or privately held business. And just as importantly, they can figure out what that business is worth. If that's you or someone you know, it's time to reach out to Evangeline's founding and managing partners, Nick Braden and Ron Hemel. They will start by scheduling a complimentary valuation from their offices, either on Poydras Street or in Lafayette. From there, you'll be well-informed, begin to make the decision on if you want to proceed. What happens after that? Well, you'll have to wait. Not the rest of your life, not just yet. We'll fill you in more later in the show after Zach Ewing. In the meantime, you can check them out at www.evangelinesecurities.com. I don't know what is going on here. Something's like stuck. There it is. Piece of skin stuck on my lip. Got it. We're all good now. Need a little water? Everything's great. Again, Evangeline Securities, www.evangelinesecurities.com. They are the proud sponsor of our show here. What do we have going on in the comments? I'm almost afraid to look. And it's still doing this weird thing with YouTube. I don't see their real names. I just see their usernames. I don't know what is going on with StreamYard. Anyway, Cedric, good morning. Perfect time for Tyler Shough to be starting. I know people saying the Rams are hard, but it's good. You need a tough test. We need to know if he's going to be long-term or short-term. Well, I can tell you this. He's going to be 9 games. So I don't see any scenario in which, well, barring injury, that he's not 9. He would have to be really super-duper bad to not be the next 9 games or injured. Chad Gage, hello, everyone. Let's see if we got a quarterback or need one in the draft. The move to Shough has been made a little bit more interesting to watch. We'll see. Charles Mangus, welcome back. You want an RV trip with your sons? That's good to know. Glad you're here. Mark Gapsky, let's go, Shough. What else we got here? A-Town, good morning. Could you please keep your governor away from any sports politics, either college or professional, in the state of Louisiana? Well, I will say this about the professional part of it. He has to be involved in the professional part of it. All governors have been, especially when it comes, they have to negotiate. The state is in, how do we put this? The state has to be involved in the talks we just finished the contract with the Dome, the lease, whatever. So as far as the professional part of it goes, has to be involved. I get that. And it's not just the governor, it's the governor and the state reps and whatever, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? I'm trying to be as gentle as possible. But when it comes to, again, we're going to talk more about this with Zach in a little bit. Daryl Hayden, good morning, everybody. What else we got? Earl's picks, Shough's time. It is Shough time. Fingers crossed. Brian Esteve is here. Good morning. Shough at quarterback and Kelly gone. I don't really think are going to get any better this year, but at least we have hope for the future. I think they could get better. Absolutely. Mark wants to know what my Halloween plans are, and Gabe, I'm sure he'll tell you in a minute. My Halloween plans are pretty simple. My girls, and this is the reason why I kind of wanted to be off tomorrow, my girls are 14 and 9. And for those parents out there who know what I'm talking about, you only get so many of these. And, when Halloween's on a Friday, it's been a little while, but when Halloween's on a Friday, it kind of stinks because usually I'm working. I have this to do, and I also have a game to cover. So I often miss a Friday. It just so happened to work out that our game this week is on a Thursday. So I get to spend one of the last Halloweens that my girls will care that we're around. Even my 14-year-old, she's going off with her friends, so I probably won't see much of her, but I'll sit in the driveway, hand out the candy. The 9-year-old will go trick-or-treating. Who knows how many more times she's going to want to go trick-or-treating with her mama. I'm going to enjoy that. So I'm going to be home, mostly in my driveway, doing what I normally do, playing the Halloween music on the Bluetooth speaker with the Halloween lights going on, and we're going to have fun with it. Little Smoke says, sports in Louisiana is bad. Can Tulane save us? I don't know. Christopher Crump is anxious to see what this new quarterback is going to do under extreme pressure. He's going to have extreme pressure. I can tell you that. How much pressure he's going to have? Well, I'm going to tell you this. The Rams, we'll get to it with Zach again in a little bit, but the Rams are second in the NFL in sacks. He's going to get against probably the worst offensive line of football, right? I mean, now that's how they've been playing. I don't know. What else we got? Oh, Lordy. A little smoke. Come on, man. Is Gale ruining the Pels now? Time to trade Zion. Dude, come on. I got to pause on that one. Kyle Sherman's here. Good morning, Dattitudinals. Over under 200 yards for Shough. Oh, I think he's going to be over 200 yards. Absolutely going to be over 200. I'd be shocked if he's not over 200 yards. Gabe, can you look up and see if they have the over-under on him yet? We'll get to that in a minute. Hakeem, big dog. Will. Rob, clownfish gonna clown. Yeah, he is clowning. What else we got here? Again, I'm not going to show probably any more Landry comments. Just saying. JC, welcome. It's 60 degrees and sunny in Denver. Guess what? It's 60 degrees and sunny in New Orleans, too. Just saying. Just saying. All right, you know what I'm going to do here? Yeah, Kyle. 19 pitchers, 609 pitches. The over, that's a God. You got to bet the over on this. I get he's going to be blitzed and all to hell, whatever. But you got to take the over on 186 and a half. Absolutely taking the over. 100%. Give me the over on 186 and a half. Let's see here. Again, y'all can talk about it amongst yourselves. I'm not showing Landry comments. I'll have enough talk about it by myself. Over -113, under -112. I love it, man. I love the over 186 and a half. In fact, I might see if I can do an outline on that. That's phenomenal. All right. It is time for our weather segment, as we do each week at this time. Well, usually it's on Friday. It's a little early. Damon Singleton, it's just 4 minutes and 19 seconds long. Talking about the weather tonight in San Antonio, Sunday, Los Angeles for our Saints and Rams, for Tulane and Texas San Antonio. And then how long is this beautiful, beautiful weather going to last? Let's ask him. Damon Singleton. Welcoming in on a special Thursday edition of the weather here on Dattitude, talking about the weekend's weather, is Damon Singleton, our own meteorologist here at NOLA.com and our Wake Up NOLA guy. He's been up way early, way longer than I have this morning, probably. It's been a rough morning for Jim Derry. I don't know. What about you, Damon?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's always an early morning for me, just getting track, getting a hold of all the information that's taking place, especially with Melissa and the weather locally. And when teams travel, I keep track of that too.
You know, real quickly, just talking about Melissa, our hearts go out to the people of Jamaica and Cuba and Haiti and everyone in the Caribbean. And it's just, you know, to me, I don't know about you, but I just have flashbacks and nightmares and thinking back to 20 years ago when you see that perfect eye and that perfect storm, and we don't mean that in a good way.
Yeah, it's an incredibly powerful storm that hit those areas. In fact, it's a historic storm, probably one of the most powerful in the Atlantic Basin in history.
Our hearts go out to everyone over there, and the terrain that they live in is a lot different than here than what we live in Louisiana and with mountains and all that. So, all right. Well, speaking of mountains, there's no mountains in San Antonio. What are we talking about? Tulane is going to San Antonio tonight, actually, Damon. It should be a nice night out in Central Texas. Yeah, their second game on a Thursday, huh? It is, and next week they play on a Friday.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what, they're in for some pretty decent weather overall. You know, mostly sunny. You know, they get cloudy at times, but for the most part, kind of mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies, and temperatures look like they'll be in the mid 60s for the Green Wave when they beat up on UTSA.
One can hope. We got our fingers crossed for that one, Damon. LSU, they cannot lose this week. They're on a bye week as their interim coach Frank Wilson starts to figure things out going forward in New Orleans native. That's a good thing. But what about our New Orleans Saints, who have had some issues on the football field, at least in Los Angeles. It's going to be nice and warm there, it looks like.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice day in LA. Looks like some sunny skies there as well. Temperatures are going to be in the 80s, probably about 82 degrees at kickoff. So it's going to be a nice kind of mild to warm and breezy day out there.
What do you see as far as us for the coming week or so? Is it going to stay like it is now?
Well, we've got we've got another cold front that's actually going to be moving through the area late on Saturday into Sunday. And so while our temperatures over the course of today and Friday and Saturday are going to kind of inch their way up, they're going to go right back down again when this cold front comes through. And it's going to bring dry air. And the wind that we experienced yesterday, I think we're going to see that again come Sunday.
So you're saying, like, when I go across the causeway, it's, you have to hold, one thing about people don't know about driving across the causeway, it's not the 24-mile drive. It's fine. But when you have days, and it's not even the rain, but when it's like 30-mile-an-hour winds and it starts blowing you around, it get a little scary over there, up there.
It sure can, especially if you're in a high-profile vehicle. It gets really scary.
All right, Damon. Well, we're looking forward to this beautiful weather. It's as you know, as a meteorologist here in New Orleans, for those who don't know and watch the show from somewhere else, we get about 26 weeks of summer, about 22 weeks of winter, and about 4 weeks of fall and spring combined, right?
That about sums it up, Jim. Yeah.
All right. We will see you next week back on our regular Friday slot. Thank you so much, Damon Single. Tell everybody how they can find you.
NOLA.com. Go to NOLA.com. You can check out Wake Up NOLA on social media, NOLA.com on social media. And you can go to the weather page in the Times-Picayune, and my forecast is there as well.
We will see you next Friday here on Dat.
All right, Jim.
Every week we do it. It's the weather segment. It's not as interesting when it's, LSU's on a bye week and the Saints and Tulane are both playing indoors, and the Saints are playing all the way across the country. How many people are actually going to watch the 1-7 Saints? How many people are going on a Thursday night to watch Tulane and San Antonio? I get it, but we do it anyway, and we'll be doing it again next week as LSU will be traveling to Tuscaloosa. The Tulane Green Wave will be playing on a Friday night at Memphis next week. All three of our teams are on the road again next week. The Saints will be at Carolina. Interesting. All right. I want to get Zach's going to come on in just a moment. Let's see. You know what? Real quick, we got some Pels comments. Let's see what else we got in here. I'm trying to get through because there's a lot of comments I'm also not showing. Hakeem says Willie Green might get 6 more games. This team has failed already. Fears definitely is a player to build around. They look like they quit on Willie Green. I disagree with that. They looked bad last night. I get it. They don't look like they quit to me. Last night was really the only terrible game they played. I mean, it's 4 games into the season. Does anybody? Of course, they got their butts stomped last night. And the schedule is tough this early part. We told you about this going in. I'm not making excuses. They stink. But Willie Green's not going anywhere, at least not yet. I mean, you go to the Clippers tomorrow night. You go to OKC. I mean, so if you don't win tomorrow night, you stare an 0-6 in the face. Come home for Charlotte, at Dallas, at San Antonio, at Phoenix, and then finally you get a little bit of a homestand. So, look, I get it, JC. Willie Green's a nice guy. Willie, nice guy. Green still has a job. What is Joe Dumars doing? I'm in the minority. I get it, but I don't think Willie Green should be going anywhere yet. Sorry. Again, he improved 3 years in a row and then stunk last year. I mean, it is what it is. Last year was a mess. From day one, the season was a mess. I don't blame half of what happened last year in Willie Green. It's 4 games into a season. Come on, man. Sean. Time to move on from Willie Green. Let's bring in Mark Jackson. I mean, I just think it's a little much to give up on him yet. That's just my opinion. Neil says it's not the Pels lose, it's how they lose. Well, I mean, you're upset if they lose when they're winning and then they falter in the fourth quarter or whatever. You're upset when they get blown out. It's 0-4. If you're going to lose, you lose. It doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter how you lose. It really doesn't make a difference on how you lose. You lose, you lose. It is what it is. All right. We may or may not talk Pels later in the show, but I'll tell you this. I am not on board with firing Willie Green. I may be later, but I'm not blaming a lot of what happened last year on Willie Green. I think that's unfair. And you're 4 games into this season. So chill out. Speaking of new coaches. Oh my goodness. Let's bring in Zach Ewing to help me out here. And I'm going to just throw this out there. And look, this is a touchy subject because, we don't want this to be, I've said this before for people who weren't here earlier. I'm going to stress this again. This is a sports show. I try to avoid politics at all costs. In fact, I do avoid politics at all costs. This is not about politics. This has nothing to do with politics, whether you like Jeff Landry, don't like Jeff Landry, whether you're conservative, whether you're a liberal, whether you're an independent, it doesn't make a difference. To me, the governor inserting himself into Louisiana State University's coaching search is just absolutely absurd in my opinion. And I'm not sure what he thinks he's accomplishing by doing it. Zach Ewing, I know you have to be careful with your answer, but.
Well, I think the proof is in the pudding, right? Like within an hour of that press conference, Jeff Landry was on Twitter backtracking. He knows he messed up. He knows, I have liberal friends, I have conservative friends, I have people that I follow on social media who are on both sides of the spectrum. And you're right. It doesn't matter. I think that was universally decried what Jeff Landry did. You don't go out there and stick your big ego and your big face into this coaching search. That's just not what you do as a governor of the state. That's not what people elected you for, whether people voted for you or not. That's not what they want. And I've talked to people who said, that's not what I voted for. And the reason is because if you are Dan Lanning, Lane Kiffin, even John Summerall, who lives in this state, Eli Drinkwitz, Clark Lee, any coach, are you looking at this and going, yeah, want to be a part of that?
Yeah, exactly.
3-ring circus. I don't think so.
No, exactly. And that's kind of the whole point. To me, you just threw a wrench into, you hurt LSU now in trying to get a coach because they're going to be, the big name coaches are going to probably be, I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want any part of that. So to me, that's the biggest thing of the dumbest thing of it all is not thinking before you speak. Again, it's not the politics part of it. It's Louisiana is already known for its politics and what it is, and governors getting involved. I mean, Edwin Edwards got involved in everything. Go back and find other governors who got involved when they shouldn't have got involved in whatever. But you just trying to hire a coach. I mean, and Jim, I get that he doesn't want to. I know that he doesn't want to spend public taxpayer money, and he's trying to avoid that. I understand that part of it, but you just can't involve yourself in saying I'm going to. The AD is not going to be a part of a search. That's just absurd.
Yeah. And okay, first of all, is there some taxpayer money involved? Yes, it's a public institution. Okay. But we all know that when we talk about this 53, almost $54 million buyout, we're talking about private money. This is not taxpayer money. They went to some very rich people and drummed up the money for this. Or the rich people came to them and said, I'm willing to pay for this. This is not like you and I are not paying our property taxes and paying out Brian Kelly's contract. That's not what's happening. So first of all, that's silly. That's disingenuous. And frankly, again, I'm not going to sit here and make this a political discussion, but that's been Jeff Landry from the beginning. Okay. Jeff Landry once sued the Advocate over something he knew he couldn't win as a publicity stunt. So without saying anything, I'll just tell you where I stand on Jeff Landry. But the point is, you can sit there as the governor and say, hey, boy, I really want to win. And I don't. And I thought his comment Saturday night was fine, where he said, you really raise ticket prices and then you give us this performance.
Absolutely.
That's fair game. You're a public figure. You're willing to say, I want the public school, the public state school to win. I really hope that they get it right. What you're not supposed to do is sit there and say, well, this is the guy who's going to hire it, and this is the guy who's going to do this. Like, yes, you have a hand in hiring the university president, although really that's supposed to be the board of supervisors. But I think Jeff Landry's been more involved in hiring the university president than probably most governors would be. Okay, I'm willing to go that far. That's the guy who's running the university. But at some point, you need to say, I'm putting these guys in charge, and I trust them to make the decision for the athletic department and for the football team. And I'm going to stay out of it because that's not my area of expertise. And that's where Jeff Landry is failing, because he seems to think everything is his area of expertise.
I think that is spot on. That's pretty much the way I feel about it as well. But I thought it was important to talk. Again, I'm not trying to mix politics and sports, but sometimes in this case, I thought it was absolutely something that needed to be talked about. It needed to be brought up because, in my opinion, you just can't have a governor that's getting involved in something like this because, again, I think, like what you said, it's going to scare away the top talent, in my opinion. I mean, even if you're a John Summerall and you're wanting this, you're wanting to move up in your career and take the next big thing, what's bigger than LSU? I mean, but now this might give you a second thought, even if you're him. It certainly gives you a pause if you're a Dan Lanning or a Lane Kiffin or whatever. So, I mean,
and the other part of this too is he said, Landry said that he did not, they would not be signing the new coach to such a contract with these egregious buyouts. And he erroneously tied Scott Woodward to Jimbo Fisher's buyout. Scott Woodward did not, he did hire Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M, but the contract that included the $70 whatever million buyout was signed after Woodward left for LSU. So that part is factually incorrect. And then but to me, when you say we're not going to sign for that contract, I get that. Those are bad contracts for schools to sign. They are. However, if you're not willing to sign a coach to that contract, somebody else is. And so the reason you give these coaches these buyouts is because that's how you go get a Brian Kelly from Notre Dame. And that's how you go get a Jimbo Fisher from Florida State, because you're giving them a parachute that they can then rely on if things do go poorly. And if you're not willing to give them that, you're taking yourself out of the market. Like, you don't think Dan Lanning's going to want a huge buyout? If he leaves a good situation at Oregon to come to LSU, he's going to want a buyout.
Everybody is now.
That's why, like, if you're not willing to give it to him, he's going to stay at Oregon. If you're not willing to give it to Lane Kiffin, and Florida is, well, then Florida's going to get Lane Kiffin. And so when you say we're not willing to give these contracts out, now he may backtrack on that. What you say publicly and what happens in private negotiations are two different things. But if you're truly willing to not do that, then LSU is not going to be able to compete for the most sought after coaches. And that includes Summerall. Summerall it's Tulane's private, so it's not public info, but our best guess is he makes about $4 million a year. And LSU clearly is going to offer more than that if he's their choice. But so is any other school trying to hire him. So, I mean, even in Arkansas or Kentucky would offer a lot more than $4 million. So you're still competing with schools that are going to force you to spend a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, I want to share this comment as well. Look, in some sort of defense, here's a misnomer, I guess. A-Town, this is just not right. They could have taken the $53 million to fix up the streets and drainage around LSU's campus. Sure. If they got the donors who are donating this money for the buy, this is not public fund money, at least as far as we can tell as of now. It's not public. Most of it's not. Least most of it's
I'm
not.
Not sure any of it is. I would be shocked if any of it was.
Yeah.
Now, some of the money going into the football program might be public, but I would guess that's a very small percentage. And as the commenter says here, Kyle Sherman says, like, LSU football is the reason the athletic department makes money. There's no other. Baseball probably turns a small profit. The last couple of years, women's basketball maybe is turning a small profit. Outside of that, sports lose money. The football program props it all up, and they might actually be. I don't know this for sure, but at some schools, the football program and some of the surplus from the athletic department actually props up the rest of the university. That's probably not happening just because you're having to spend more and more money for the football program. But what it does do is it makes the brightest and best students in Louisiana say, yeah, I want to go to LSU because I want to watch the football team play and I want to sit in the student section. And so a successful football program then helps the university in other ways.
Yeah. Brian S. Steve says I saw they negotiated down the buyout to $20 million. Is that accurate? I also heard it came from an anonymous donor. I think the way that I understand it, Zach, tell me if I'm wrong, but the way that I understand it is that Brian Kelly gets approximately $800,000 a month until either he finds another job or it runs up to whatever they owe him, the $55 million or whatever it is. Is that correct?
Well, I don't know. I mean, there are some negotiations going on, and I know the last time that we were on here, we said, well, what are you even negotiating? Like, how do you negotiate a buyout? If it's in the contract, it's in the contract.
Right.
But there are apparently some stipulations. They could also choose to give Brian Kelly a lump sum and say, hey, would you take a lump instead of the $800,000 a month? What if we paid you $15 million this year and $15 million next year, and then that's it?
Also part of it is you there's no way you can logically say, okay, we're going to watch him, and you have, because part of the buyout is you have to go out and try to find another job. You have to try and find another job. Like people who are on unemployment try to find another job sometimes.
Right. And they could take that away, or they could, like I said, do a lump sum and say, okay, now both parties walk away.
We'll give you $20 million, and we don't care when you find another job, whether you find another job or not. And here's $20 million. Piss off.
And that way they don't have to pay him that much for that long term, but he also doesn't have to go offset it with the salary from another job, because Brian Kelly is at the age where, frankly, I don't know if he's going to
64.
Yeah,
does he want to go coach an Arkansas? That's probably going to be what his kind of options are. He's not going to get a big time job now.
Yeah. And part of the problem, I think, for LSU this year and Brian Kelly is that it kind of felt a little bit like his
UCLA
motivation was gone, right? It almost seemed like he was just going through the motions a little bit.
Yeah, I think once they lost, really, the Ole Miss loss was just, it took it out. You could say this team hasn't been, not that they were great at any point in the season, really, but I think after the Ole Miss loss, they just like, we're not that good.
And it's hard.
Real quick, David 1+ says BK is going to call Kamara to find out the best place to drink a colada for $800,000 a month.
Yeah, you got that right.
All right. Anyway, moving on. I didn't want to spend. We already spent more time on this than I really wanted to spend on it. But I thought it was important to touch on it. I'm not going to ignore something that's obviously as important as this. Honestly, when you're talking about the importance of the teams that we cover, is there anything more important than an LSU coaching search? No, not much.
It's the most important decision that athletic department will make this decade.
Yeah.
I guess Brian Kelly's hiring was also this decade, but you know what I mean? Like it's a long-term decision.
I think it's as important as that. You want to coach whoever it is. And this is why I want someone younger. Again, I'm not going to get to the whole, I'm not a Lane Kiffin fan or whatever, but whatever. I think it needs to be, I would rather see someone under the age of like 45 or around there who wants to be here for a while. Is that a Dan Lanning who would even think about it? I don't know. Would Lane Kiffin stay here for 10 years? I don't know. Would he use it as a stepping stone? I don't know. John Summerall, would he stay here 10 years?
This is like maybe the NFL.
Yeah, maybe he wants to go back to the NFL. Absolutely.
This is about as good as it gets for a college. I would consider this to be certainly a top 5 college job, if not top 3.
Well, the only thing that would scare me about Lanning, again, that's my first choice personally, but he's 39. If he wanted to go to the NFL, I think there's no question that this would probably be the last stop before he would do that. And he could theoretically, at his age, go be a young coach in the NFL 3-4 years from now. Summerall, maybe.
I think that part of his career is over. I don't think I don't know, but
he's only 39. So
I think. Oh, you're talking about Lane. Yeah. I thought you were talking about Kiffin still.
No. I'm talking about Lanning.
Maybe so. And I have no idea does Dan Lanning have an itch to go coach in the NFL? Some guys are just.
We don't know. Yeah.
Like Nick Saban learned, the grass is not always greener. Maybe you're more fit to.
Lots of people did
in this spot.
Lots of people.
Ask John Calipari or Rick Pitino.
Yeah, really. All right, moving on. We'll talk more about LSU next week. Obviously, we're going to talk a little bit about coaching search, probably for the next 6 to 8 weeks before they actually make a decision. So it'll be part of our shows. It'll be part of the LSU Insiders. You can find them on YouTube with Koki and Rab, and Wilson's back, and Reed Darcy, and Zach, you're a part of it sometimes. And so check them out. The LSU Insiders on YouTube as well. All right, moving on to Tulane. They're playing a Thursday night game. Just so happens we're doing a Thursday show. Big game tonight. The Wave cannot look ahead to Memphis because obviously that if they win tonight, the game against Memphis is pretty much to decide who's going to go to the American Conference Championship game against most likely South Florida. So big game tonight, but they can't look ahead. I was kind of surprised that they're only 6-point favorites, even though they have had some struggles with UTSA in the past.
I mean, UTSA is a good team. They run a good offense. This
3
is
and
not
4.
I think it's a really I love these Thursday games. I don't, sometimes the game on Thursday night, if it's too big of a game, you're kind of like, why are they putting this on a Thursday? But this is the appropriate, like, this is one of those, one team's got to win it to open up a bigger game. And so, yeah, no baseball tonight. I'll definitely be watching.
UTSA this year so far, well, they got swamped, and I mean blitzed by North Texas 55-17. They were also off last week with Tulane. Before that, they beat Rice. Everybody beats up on Rice. They beat Temple by 6. They beat Colorado State, who's terrible, by 1. They beat UIW. What is that again?
Incarnate Word. Beat them by 28. They lost by a touchdown to Texas State. They're not that good, Zach. I don't get this line. And I get it. Look, they struggle, and we'll make our predictions in a minute, so I'm not trying to jump the gun, but how many times has I would just flip that around on you, though. What has Tulane done to make you think that they are just going to start blowing teams out?
I'm not sure which Tulane team is the right Tulane team. Is Tulane the team that we saw play against Duke, or is Tulane the team that we saw play against Army and stunk and got lucky to win?
Tulane's won 2 games by more than 7 points all year.
Yeah.
And one was Tulsa, who's not very good. And then the other one was Northwestern, and that was their best performance of the year, but it was also fueled by, was it 4 points?
They could have named their score against Duke. They kind of screwed around there at the end.
Oh, I disagree with that. Name your score.
Oh, you're kidding?
If you're going to name your score, you're going to win by more than 7.
They completely took their foot off. Did you watch the game?
Yes, I watched the game. They
completely.
You say they took their foot off the gas, but when you take your foot off,
it was like 17-point game, like going into fourth quarter, and just like whatever.
When you take your foot off the gas to the point where the other team has a chance to win it at the end, that's you've taken it off too much.
Okay. Well, let's get to it. That'll lead us to our picks. Perfect segue into our picks. And we're both got the same record. And by the way, this is just wins and losses. This is not against the spread. We're both 16-4. Zach is picking a tight one. You're picking UTSA with the spread. You're picking Tulane to win.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a stinky spread. Like, why is it under 7? It almost feels like they're tempting you to take Tulane minus the 6. So I think it'll be a close game. The other thing about these midweek games is the home crowd tends to be pretty fired up for them. It's not like UTSA is on national TV all that much. So I think Tulane's in for a fight. I do think Summerall's a good coach. I don't know. I get the impression that Tulane is just maybe a rung below Memphis and South Florida. I hope we get to find out next week in a game that means everything for the Green Wave. But they've got to get past this test first.
I don't disagree with the fact that they're probably a rung below Memphis and South Florida. That being said, though, I going through and see, and I actually agree with you. UTSA always has good crowds. And being a Thursday night, they could be fired up there on national TV.
Yeah, but
I think Tulane finally scores a lot of points. And look, if I'm wrong about this, I'll probably jump off the Tulane bandwagon. But I just don't think San Antonio is any good. Again, I know that they've struggled at some points in this series, but North Texas scored a 50 burger on them. North Texas is okay. I mean, they're
really good.
They're good. Oh yeah, they're North Texas. They're North Texas. They're not that good.
You could sit there and say they're South Florida. Just because you emphasize the directional doesn't mean they're not a good team.
It does for me. I wouldn't emphasize it if I thought they were a good team.
North Texas beat the brakes off of Washington State.
Ooh.
I mean,
let's do this on live TV. Let's look at their schedule. I have no idea. They scored 50 against Charlotte.
They're one of those teams
that beats
the heck out of teams that are
they got what they lost to South Florida 63-36.
They're one of those teams that beats the hell out
of
teams worse than them and loses by a lot against teams that are better than them. That's what North Texas is.
Anyway.
But they'll run it up against bad teams.
I got 41-23 Wave. You've got 28-24 Wave.
That'd be a season high in points for Tulane by a full touchdown.
Okay.
Just saying. I mean, I'm not saying that it can't happen. It's just
they've been allowing lots of points. So
yeah.
Anyway, could be. This is a semi. I'm just going to throw this out there. Give a spoiler alert. This is a semi cross. I don't officially pick it as my best bet, but it's a semi crossfire with one of our picks later. And I'm just going to say it's someone that in the green room that's just shaking his head. He can't wait to talk about it. It's driving him insane. He's getting red. He hated that I talked bad about North Texas. I'm not going to tell you which one, but there are two guys in the green room. One of them is going to hear his song later too. The other one is shaking his head. It's going to be fun later. All right, moving on. Talking about the New Orleans Saints, and it's the switch time. And I know I've been looking forward to talking to you about this. We kind of touched on it a little bit in the post-game show. I think we both knew this was coming, but then we had the breaking news about Brian Kelly when we were doing the post-game show from the floor of the Dome on Sunday. But the Tyler Shough era officially begins on Sunday when he makes his first start as a 14-point underdog at the Los Angeles Rams. Not the easiest place in the world to make your first NFL start, Zach.
No, it's not. And it's one reason why I was kind of thinking maybe they would give Rattler another week or two just to get past this, frankly. But you've said this before, and you're right. Like, ultimately, you got to get him out there and see what he's got. And the schedule lessens up considerably the rest of the year. I mean, this is by far their toughest game. At Tampa Bay is the only other one that's even close to this remaining on the schedule. So I'm okay with it. You send him out there, you see what he's got against a good defense, and then kind of give him an opportunity to maybe grow over the final 8 games.
Yeah, I agree with you. And like I've been saying, there's no parachute, and that's the word that I've been using because I just don't think that it doesn't matter if it gets any easier or not. I don't try to find a soft landing. It's not necessarily easier to. I mean, what are you going to do? Send him on the road to Carolina? I mean, either way, it's on the road. Just get him out there and get him some starts. I don't think he cares where he starts. I think he's excited about it. And look, we'll see whether it matters or not. And that leads me right into the rankings. And we know we do this every week. We talk about the rankings and where each team ranks against the other one. And I got to say, looking at the season rankings, and these are yards allowed per game. That's where I get these numbers from. And if you didn't know any better, you would say the Saints and Rams, their records are got to be kind of close, honestly. But they're not. They're not very close at all.
Yeah.
I mean, those who can't see, so I'll read them out. I forget sometimes there are people that listen to this after the fact. The Rams rushing offense against the Saints rushing defense. The Rams have the 22nd ranked rushing offense in the league. That's not that a surprise. But what is kind of a surprise is that the Rams passing offense is only 10th. I thought it would be a little bit higher than that. And the Saints passing defense is 9th. A lot of that has to do, they've been improving actually the last couple of weeks. I thought were really good last week against Tampa Bay. They're in the top 10 now, passing wise. The Saints rushing offense has been almost non-existent. They're not going to be able to run the ball against the Rams. And the scariest thing, obviously, 22nd in offense. That doesn't matter this week. Now you got a new quarterback. You got an offensive line that's deteriorating. They've been 22nd to this point. And that 14th rank for the Rams, Zach, is misleading against the pass because the Rams are the second best team in the NFL when it comes to number of sacks.
Yeah, elite pass rush. Byron Young I think is second in the NFL in sacks.
Mhm.
Also got Jared Verse, who was last year's Defensive Rookie of the Year. The Saints will go from maybe the best pass rush in the NFL to next week Carolina might have the worst pass rush in the NFL. So that will be interesting to see how Shough performs against those two very dichotomous defenses. But
Yeah.
you're right. Like the Rams are a really good team. The other thing about these numbers is the Rams have played a fairly tough schedule. They've already played the 49ers, the Seahawks, the Colts, forgetting the Eagles. They've already played a lot of the top teams in the NFL. And so I think you take these numbers with a little bit of a grain of salt. And there's also a little bit of an element. Sean McVay has always been like this. There's a little bit of an element of we're going to go pass the ball as long as we need to. But once we have a lead, we're perfectly content to just sit on it. And we don't care if we beat you by 10 points or 20 points. We're just going to go beat you. So I would be concerned. You look at the big spread in this game. I would be concerned. I always am concerned betting the Rams laying a lot of points because Sean McVay does tend to get conservative late in games. But they will do what they need to do, I think, to separate themselves and keep the Saints at arm's length.
We touched on that this is a tough place to start, but what do you expect to see out of Tyler Shough? I mean, and look, all the Rattler fans, if he has a terrible week, look, I'm not expecting him to do great things. Although I will say this, as Gabe looked it up earlier, his over/under passing yards, I absolutely love the over. It's 186.5. I think he's gonna have to throw the ball. I think they're gonna. I think he might throw 45 times in this game. And if that's true, I don't see how he doesn't throw for over 186.5 yards. His over, you could do 200 plus for plus 127. 210 plus is plus 167. So I'm not saying he's going to throw for 300 yards, Zach, but I think there's a good chance that he throws for low to mid 200s.
I'm not going to bet that.
Okay.
I don't know, man. I think
you bet anything.
You could see a situation where
you bet on the Saints on the live money line when Shough came in the game the other day when they're getting their asses kicked.
I thought maybe he'd give them a spark, and obviously Tampa Bay was not moving the ball very well in that game, but this one is it's tough because we've not really seen Shough play a lot. We've not seen him play against this type of defense. He could throw for 200 yards. I just don't know that I would predict that. All
right, what are you expecting? You don't need to give me a number. In fact, Ryan Ashea says, what will even be acceptable for Shough in the last 9 games we are so bad? He says, but it's not about wins and losses necessarily. I mean, of course, you would love to see 3 wins in there if you could see that. But like, what is realistically your thoughts on this game and the rest of the season for what you're going to see from Shough? Not necessarily numbers. What are you expecting? What if you were a Saints fan? What would you want to see? What is fair?
You want to see growth. I mean, it is hard to put a number on it, but think about Drake May for the Patriots last year. And I'm not saying Shough is the next Drake May or has to be the next Drake May. I also think Drake May is probably getting to the point where he's a little overrated. Like he's put up some good games in a row against some bad opponents, and I think he's like 3rd in the MVP voting. It's slow down on Drake May, but what you saw from him last year was a couple of games early where he really struggled, and you thought, oh boy, this is going to be a long season for the Patriots, and they picked the wrong guy, and too bad they couldn't have picked Daniels a pick earlier, and all that. By the end of the year, he was showing, hey, I've got something, and I've figured this out. That's what you want to see from Tyler Shough. Is just you want to see some growth. You want to see him be able to read some defenses. I don't know that the mistakes will stop this year.
They're not.
Oh, no. That's fine. He'll make some mistakes, but you do want to see some growth and some explosiveness. One thing I think is that Rattler was unwilling or unable to hit on a lot of deep shots. I think Tyler Shough is going to be more willing, and the Saints hope more able to hit on some of those. There will also be some more mistakes with those. But if you can stretch the defense a little bit more, maybe that in turn opens up the running game. I mean, it's that sort of thing that I'm looking for, more so than how many times did he throw for over 200 yards.
I will say this. I would be shocked if, when all is said and done, if Shough's turnovers per game aren't more than Spencer Rattler's per game. So they're each going to, let's just say Shough plays the last 9 games, which I think is likely. Again, barring injury, I think it's likely. He'd have to be so bad that they just don't have a choice and they don't want to embarrass him.
Right.
That's how bad he would have to be for him not to play 9 games barring injury.
Yeah, injury.
But that being said, he is going to take a lot more chances, and he does a lot. I will say this from his college. I don't know that you can extrapolate some of the things that he's done in college to the NFL, but one thing that he did in college is sometimes he does get a little bit flustered and just make some weird ass throws.
Yeah, I mean, you would hope the turnovers don't get too high. What Rattler had 7 turnovers in 8 games, is that right?
Yeah.
I'd like to keep it around 1 per game. I mean, if you have more than that, even with a guy taking chances. Now we all know not every turnover is created equally. Like you don't blame Shough for that one on Sunday. He threw the ball right to Chris Olave, and Olave got the ball ripped away from him. That's not on Shough. So not every turnover is created equally, but you would like to see if it starts getting a whole lot more than 1 per game. You start to wonder, is this guy just kind of a loose cannon or like a somebody who can't rein it in when he needs to rein it in.
Yeah. And then looking forward, kind of talking about what we're talking about now, it gets easier. Again, after this game, we touched on this already. At Carolina, not easy, but easier. And then the bye week. And then, look, lots of winnable games after the bye week. I mean, I don't think you're not going to win at Tampa, but you can't tell me there of the other games. There isn't a single game of the other games that I don't think the Saints, you go into the game that they can't win this game. I think they can beat Atlanta. I think they actually, I think they will beat Atlanta, one of the two. I think they got a good chance to beat Carolina, one of the two. They got a good chance to beat the Jets and or Tennessee. I still don't think the Saints going to win 4 games. I still put their win total at probably about 3. I was at 4 at the beginning of the season. I'm probably about 3 right now.
Oh, I'm going over 3.
You're going over 3? You think they'll win 4?
I think they could. Yeah. I mean, look, the optimistic path would be, like you said, you split with Carolina, you split with Atlanta, and then you win 2 out of 3 between Miami, Jets, Titans.
I think that's really optimistic.
That's the optimistic path, but it's not crazy.
If they do that, though, I will say, if they do that, then they're not going to be drafting a quarterback with the top 5 pick. If they win 4 more games this season, again, I don't think that's likely, but if they do, they're not going to be looking for a quarterback with those.
That means they went 4 and 5. And again, it depends on how they play. Is their defense carrying them in some of those games and they're winning despite Tyler Shough? Like that, there are differences there, but that would be the optimistic path. I think 3 is probably your pessimistic. Like, hey, they're only going to squeak out. Carolina's not very good. I know you keep saying they're okay. They're not very good. Their defense is terrible. And
I mean, they're like 7 and 10, 8 and 9. Okay. That's what I mean.
Think so. 7 and 10, maybe at the ceiling, but Miami's not very. Miami, you just don't know what you're going to get with Miami.
They only have to win 3 more games to get to 7.
They
got the Saints and Falcons still in their schedule.
Yeah, maybe so. I'd have to look at the rest of their schedule. I don't buy it. I think they're playing above their level a little bit. Tennessee's awful. I mean, like for the Saints to only win 2 more.
That schedule's actually pretty tough, to be honest with you. So maybe not.
To me, only 2 more wins would be a failure. But again, the number of wins matters less than what does the team look like. Are they losing because their defense? They're playing these 35-year-old defenders who are just not ready anymore, and that doesn't matter because they're not going to be here anymore anyway. Are they losing because Shough is terrible? Are they losing because you know what I'm saying? Are they losing close games? Are they getting their doors blown off? Like you made the comment about the Pelicans earlier. It doesn't matter how they're losing. It just matters that they're losing. I think it does actually matter how the Saints look more so than the overall record these last 9 games.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. I just think that in the grand scheme of things, that's not how you're going to figure out whether Tyler Shough is the future of this team. I think a lot of it is going to be, I don't think stats in the grand scheme of things matter. I think a lot of it's going to be eye test. It's the same thing that where Spencer Rattler and you going to I think you're going to semi disagree with me here. Not necessarily full out disagree with me, but I don't think Spencer Rattler's stats weren't that bad. If you just looked at his stats and didn't watch him play, in the grand scheme of things, the total stats, they're okay. They're okay. I mean, just kind of like we do all the time. But the eye test tells you that, in my opinion, this guy's not a starting quarterback, and not he cannot lead your franchise as a starting quarterback. So to me, I want to see, does the eye test tell me, is Tyler Shough going to be able to lead this team going forward? We definitely don't know the answer to that. Now, hopefully we'll know in 9 games. And to me, that's why wins and losses in the grand scheme of things don't matter, and his stats don't matter. I'll be able to watch him and tell you whether I think he can lead this franchise or not.
Yeah, I mostly agree with that. I don't think stats are meaningless, but I think, especially if we're just talking about the traditional completion percentage, yardage, touchdowns, interceptions, like sometimes those hide the truth a little bit. But you can start looking at more advanced stats, and then the film is what the coaches are going to base this off of.
Yeah.
What does Tyler Shough look like on film? Is he properly going through his progressions, but at the same time being aggressive with his first read when the situation calls for it? Is he calling out the proper blocking schemes in the run game? All of these things play a role. Is he getting in and out of the huddle fast enough? Is he getting the team lined up in the 2-minute drill? These are the things that they're going to look for to say, we're willing to go another year with this guy, or we need to go use our top 10 pick on a quarterback, because frankly, we got plenty of time to talk draft over the next few months. But I think the best players in this draft are not quarterbacks, the way that I'm seeing college football this year. And so I think if you had your druthers, you'd prefer not to have to draft a quarterback, because then you could go get that stud defensive end from Miami, or you could go get the best wide receiver in the country, or you could go a bunch of different ways. This team's got holes everywhere.
Yeah, it's not like, well, we go with we can't go with best available. In this case, you absolutely can go best available, because if he's available, you pretty much need him. So, I mean, it doesn't matter where he is. By the way, the Panthers scheduled the rest of the way at Packers this week, home for the Saints, at Falcons, at 49ers, home for the Rams, at the Saints, home for the Bucks, at home for the Seahawks, and at Tampa Bay to finish out the season.
I mean, if they split with the Saints, are they going to win 2 other games? I don't know.
That's pretty tough, man.
They might, but if they don't sweep the Saints, that gets tough.
All right, now if you want to get your Saints prediction in, we have plenty in the queue, and I'll show some in just a minute. Now is the time to do so, because we are about to get to our predictions. But Zach loves this. This is his favorite slide of the week, and I have to show it here just because I made it. I'm going to show it. The Saints series against the Rams. There's a lot of gold on that, and I don't mean Saints gold. I mean Rams yellow gold.
That one in black because it's like a funeral. Like
it's like I still don't recognize that as a win. That's the no call.
Okay.
That's not a F that. It's not really a game. Jared Goff can take a flying flip off of a short pier.
I don't have a lot of memory of the Saints beating the Rams in 2022. It feels like they haven't beat them in forever.
I do, actually. That was the game where Stafford was basically out for the season at that point. I can't even. They had some like backup. It was like a third-string quarterback playing, and the Saints still almost lost.
That's right. It was.
The Saints led big earlier, and then they started coming back.
I think the Rams were bad that year because they had so many injuries.
They had a ton of injuries. So, yeah, that's why the Saints won that game.
I'm looking at it now. Stafford actually did start that game.
Oh, okay. He got hurt in the game. That's what it was. Yes. Who came in for him? Somebody that doesn't play. That I don't think
Bryce Perkins.
Right, so I don't even know who the hell that is.
I think he went to Baylor.
Okay. Whatever. It's Bryce Perkins.
Yeah.
I know as much about Bryce Perkins, according to Gabe and UBN, as I know about North Texas. That's all. whole different story. Stay in your lane. Says the two guys that can't pick a winner to save their lives and pick them. Oh, wait. Someone did pick the winner. Anyway, that's a whole different story. Last year, Rams won. Rams have won 4 out of the last 5, if you include the playoffs. Going back to 19. Again, this doesn't really have a whole lot, but the Rams really have had the Saints numbers. And just as far as the Rams go, as a kid, I don't think there was a team that I hated more than the Los Angeles Rams. And I hate whenever they wear their throwbacks. And I know that these are a lot like throwbacks, but whenever they wear the real throwbacks, it gives me nightmares to when I was a kid, because the Rams would always beat the hell out of the Saints.
I think the Rams have classic jerseys, man. I don't have the the childhood trauma that you do with this. I think the colors are great. I think the helmets are great. Like I gotta admit, I think the Rams are top tier uniforms.
Jared Goff and Mike Lansford, by the way, in his bare ass foot. Piss off. Anyway, that's how I feel. I do not like the Rams. I've never liked the Rams. But
I will
anyway.
say this, and I bring this up when we talked no call before. The no call was egregious. It probably cost the Saints the game. The Saints also had every opportunity to win that game after that. And
okay, Jared Goff.
Then Breeze throws an interception in overtime. Then, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
there's a little bit
just like the Cubs could have won the game after Bartman touched the ball, but everybody and their grandma knew that the Cubs were going to lose the series as soon as Bartman touched the ball. So you can blame someone else if you want. I'm blaming the ref. I'm blaming Bartman from back in the day. It is what it is. Prediction time. Again, last chance and you know what? Let's get to some of the predictions before we show our own as I change the slide here so that's not covering up my face, even if it is my face. What we got here? Rams 34. Sean says Rams 34, Saints 13. I know I had another one before that. I'm sorry if I missed it. Because I got to go forward now and not backwards. Brian S. Steve says 31-13 Rams. UBN says 31-17 Rams and win in a push if you're going against the spread. Charles Manga says the Saints cover. Rams 24, Saints 12. Brian Cavett says Rams 34. He's got a lot of faith in Chuck. 34-24. Let's see. Chad Gage. All right. I thought you were picking the Saints to win. Chad's been drinking on the lawn all week, enjoying because Spencer Rattler finally got removed as the Saints starter. He says Rams 31, Saints 24. Mr. Gotro.
You got any Saints picks out there?
Nope, we losing 34-17. And let's see what else we got. That's because my normal people who pick the Saints every week are not here today. Including Lance Dobart. He's not here, but he might not even know that we're going on the show today. Ron Hendrickson says Rams 29, Saints 19. Rams do enough to win. Saints offense can't score touchdowns. All right. I guess it's time to move on here. Let me get the right slide here. All right, here we go. Zach's pick this week. I'll let you call it out.
I think I'm the same as one of your commenters. I'm taking the Rams 31-13. I could see a game, like somebody said 24-12. I could see that. Maybe just sort of a defensive game. I do think the Saints will struggle to move the ball. I think Tyler Shough gets his first touchdown pass of his career late in the game, maybe. Kind of save some face. But yeah, this is Jim. I don't know. Is there a safer survivor pick the entire season than this one? Or rookie?
I'm using them where I can use them.
I was listening to a podcast where it says, you got to save the Rams for week 13 because they go to Carolina and there's not a lot of other easy picks that week or something. I said, yeah, but
yeah,
I like the picks where, and I'm not against saving teams, but I also like the picks where I just feel like I can wake up in the morning and not have to worry about it that day. Like I'm getting through. So this feels like one of those.
Gabe says, to be fair, people said the same thing about Dart versus the Chargers.
I was never going to pick that game. For one thing, that was a road game. Chargers had a lot of injuries, cross-country trip. Like, to me, this is a totally different situation. People said that about the Cardinals and Titans, and they got screwed on that one. But that took the most freak occurrence, like 3 freak occurrences back to back to back in the fourth quarter, and they still barely won. So
why is everybody just hating on the defense? Has actually been playing okay. Ryan O'Shea says 41-20 Rams. The Rams offense isn't that good. I don't get that. Saints score at least 17. Jay Tucker Rafferty says Rams 31, Saints 17. Kyle Sherman says 27-16 Rams. And S. Gotro, is that Apathy? Is that you? I don't know who that. Again, we've got usernames and I don't have their real names. We average 16 points a game. So, okay. All right. My prediction. I'm going to be a little positive here. It's positive. I actually, by the way, I did use the Rams as one of my knockout picks. I have 2 left. I use the Rams as one of them. I just couldn't help it. You have to. But I think it's going to be closer, and the score may be misleading. My predicted score may be a little bit misleading. I say 27-20 Rams, because I think that you're right in the sense I think Shough does throw a late touchdown pass to maybe make it look closer than it really is. But I also think he throws one earlier, too. I think he throws 2 touchdown passes, but I think the Rams probably get a lead that it's going to be one of those games where, in my opinion, you never think the Saints are really in it, but they don't lose by that much. And I think that Shough looks okay. I think he throws 2 touchdowns and 2 picks and throws for 222 yards. How about that? All deuces. Deuces, wow. Throws for 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks.
I could see that. I mean, I think that that's probably pretty optimistic, like even including the 2 picks. I just don't know that he's going to throw it that much. I know he threw it 30 times last weekend. And
I think he's going to have to. They're going to abandon the run.
Yeah, and maybe he just has to. But I think that at some point, and they've said this before, they've given lip service to it before, but you've yet to see the Saints really play a game. I shouldn't say yet to, because the 2 games where they really did a good job committing to the run were Buffalo and then the Giants the next week. They did a pretty good job, and I really think they've just got to get back to that. And especially against a pass rush like this, like how do you beat a great pass rush? Well, you got to run the ball. And so I think especially in the first half, like it wouldn't surprise me if Tyler Shough has only thrown, 8 to 10 passes at halftime.
Okay. Well, I get you. By the way, Sean says it's Sean Gotro. Sorry about that, Sean. And I like the number there. You got 829 there at the end. Do we have the same birthday? That's my birthday. Just saying. Earl says he doesn't know, but he's never going to pick Survivor if they're going to go against a quarterback with no tape, even though he's positive the Saints win. At least we got somebody that says they're positive the Saints win. All right, what you got going on this weekend, Zach?
Not too much. I got
trick-or-treating.
Yeah, I've actually got a son homesick right now, so I'm hoping he gets better.
I got a daughter homesick.
Yeah. It's going around, so hopefully that doesn't last. And other than that, going trick-or-treating, and finally kind of a little bit of a quiet weekend. No Saints road trip. I mean, not for me. And LSU is off, so we'll ear to the ground on the LSU stuff. Although obviously, the most fascinating thing about that to me is is LSU willing to wait out a coach who, number one, makes the playoff, but number two, maybe even wins a game and is playing at New Year's or later with the transfer portal window. Like, if you really want a guy like a Kiffin or a Lanning or even a Sumrall who's in the playoff, are you willing to wait for him? That's what shout out to the Hamilton soundtrack. I'm willing to wait for it. Are the Tigers willing?
That's what we're doing today. We're shouting out the Hamilton soundtrack.
My daughter, 15 in a month from today, she turns 15. She listens to the entire soundtrack at least once a day. So I've got it playing on a loop in my head.
Okay. Well, that was back in the day. I had to listen to Elsa over and over again. I probably heard the song Let It Go, and I'm not exaggerating when I say
so what happens
1,046 times.
Exactly. You hear certain phrases and the song just pops into your head, and I'm willing to wait for it is one of them. So yeah, it's just right there.
Well, the cold never bothered me anyway. That's why I'm glad winter is here. Zach Ewing. We will see you next week. Back to Friday. We will see you next Friday. Enjoy your Halloween weekend as we head into November.
All right. Sounds good.
See you later. Zach Ewing, everybody. Let's see. What else we got? August 29th is your birthday. Will we share our birthday? It's not really a birthday, I guess, that, Sean, that everyone loves to have around here, but it is. Oh, Earl says the Rams win. Okay. All right. You just trying. I gotcha. Okay. Earl also says, I got to get Kamara outside and in space in the slot. Stop running him up the middle. Yeah. Chad's daughter is 21 and she loves the Hamilton soundtrack. I've been able to avoid that one. Some things I can avoid, some things I can't. That one I've been able to avoid. Ryan Ashe says the last time we played a legit offense was against the Pats. They could have scored 40 in that game for sure. That's true. Bucks were super banged up, so not sold. No, I hear you. But I think the defense playing okay. I think the Saints actually my thought process in my pick this week was, and I'll put it back up on the screen if those of you have been in and out. Why not? My thought process was that I think the Saints are going to play. I want to say inspired is not the right word, and it's not inspired because Rattler's out. I think a lot of times when you see a change, just in general, when a losing team has a change, it's not necessarily because of the last person or even the person coming in. I think that they feel like mentally that they're going to get a fresh start somewhat. They're going into this with an attitude, so it would not surprise me at all if the Saints play one of their better games of the season. Again, this is a tough place to play. The Saints have been terrible on the road, so really there is no logic. I would never make this a best bet. Never. I would never make this a best bet. And in the grand scheme of things, my pick doesn't make sense because, the Saints have been getting destroyed on the road. So I don't care whether it's with a different quarterback. Just in general, the defense has played bad on the road, except for Chicago. They played okay, I guess. But, so there's no rhyme or reason, but I just think they're going to get a spark. I feel like they're going to have a spark with a change. Again, not necessarily because Spencer Rattler is gone and Tyler Shough is in. I just think a 1-7 team coming in is going to play a little bit better. Don't think they're going to win. There you go. Now, Christopher Crump may be just saying this to all show his comment, but I would have showed his comment anyway. He says he's going to believe. There you go. There's your one Saints pick. He says Saints 21, Rams 20. All right, it's time to move on to that segment. I don't even know if I want to put him on the screen. Before we get to this real quick, somewhat breaking news. I'm going to trust Gabe here. I don't know who this person is. Brett Siegel of Clutch Points. Breaking news. The Pelicans are having, quote, serious discussions about firing Willie Green. But again, I trust Gabe. I asked him if it was a legit source, and he says yes. So I trust Gabe. And this, again, I'm not the all-knowing when it comes to that kind of crap. So that is at least one report on the social media machine that the Pelicans are having serious. I would be surprised. I got to be honest. It's 4 games into a season. You just don't see a coach. Now, I don't think they're going to give them like when they started like 3-20, whatever. Back in the, I don't see it. Again, I could be wrong. I don't have the same sources that these people have. So I would defer to people that know what they're talking about. And if he's a quality source, then sure. I just think that's it's early to do that. And again, you're going back to last year and all that stuff, but it is what it is. All right. I'm trying to get, you know what? Before I bring them in, I'm trying to get myself, you'll see why I'm trying to prepare myself mentally for what's about to happen on this stupid show. Sometimes this show is just stupid. That's a way to promote your show, Derry. Get people to watch my call. It's stupid. It's stupid sometimes. And sometimes the people I have on this show are stupid. Just bringing that up. You know who's not stupid? We told you earlier about our friends at Evangeline. They can help you figure out what your family run or privately held business might be worth. They're the smartest people on the planet. They can also tell you whether it's time to sell. How do they do it? Now, that is the smartest question of the day. Thank you for asking it. After their complimentary valuation of your company, if you decide to proceed, native New Orleanians Nick Braden, Ron Hemelton, the folks at Evangeline, they'll begin an extensive auction process from among established private equity funds from around the whole wide world. They'll maximize the return for the founder and his or her family. Evangeline Securities, the top producer on their platform. There are very few companies like them in this area, and none, with their dedication and success. They are fully licensed. They're ready to serve you, so get in touch with Nick and Ron about what's really important. It's not what UBN's wearing for Halloween, and it's not the Hamilton soundtrack. You know what's really important? The rest of your life. You can find them at www.evangelinesecurities.com. I wish I had the music of Send In the Clowns, Boys and Girls, because if I did, instead I got this song, which is way better.
Uncle Picnic, can we make some pics today? Mom, can we please?
You got a clown costume on, you get the clown music, pal.
I can't keep this on the whole time, obviously.
No, you can't, because it sounds like you're talking in a wind tunnel, and I don't even want to look at you like that. A-Town says, bring on the song, baby. Bring on the song.
That thing's hot.
Unlike your picks last week.
Yeah, you think?
What you got, Gabe?
I was going to say, I would just like to say that you know who's not stupid, and immediately going into an ad read might be the best transition that we've had.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Thank you.
And to speak to the Willie Green thing, people are asking why. I think there have been multiple coaches fired within the first 10 games of the NBA season recently, so it's definitely not unprecedented.
All right. No.
Can y'all hear me better?
Much better.
Okay,
Sean says, by the way, it's not the issue the Pels are losing. It's a big issue the way they're losing. Looks worse than last season starting off. This isn't Dumar's pick at head coach. I agree, but I think it's too early. So I don't think it's going to happen. All right.
It might be too early, but I think what he's saying is right. It came from last year. Okay, they're starting off just the same way as last year, so we can't keep going like this.
Yeah, and again, this started. What's coming doesn't make it any better. So I would just wait. If he starts 2-8.
Yeah.
Anyway, these are the records from last week and overall this season. And two of us had really good weeks. One of us stunk up the joint. And look at those standings, how they can change so fast. That's right. I'm gonna slurp it all up while I can, because who knows, I might have a minus 80 this week, and then I won't be able to enjoy it anymore. I was 3-0 last week, plus 46. Gabe was 3-0, plus 28.5. UBN 1-2, minus 39.5. Oh my word. Yeah, you shouldn't have picked the over on the Mizzou Vandy game.
Yeah, all of a sudden they play defense. Imagine that.
And Bo Bueller got hurt.
I will say this though.
That didn't happen. What, third? It was after the third, in the third quarter, right?
Yeah.
It was 3-3 at the half.
Yeah.
3-3.
You lucky you got 27 total points in that game. It would have been even worse.
Fired Kelly before the game started.
We should fire you from the show for having a minus 39.5.
That ain't even the worst this year.
Hey,
so
nice.
Did you had a worse than that?
Yeah. Gabe
it's amazing you're still only minus 10.5. All right. So the way that it works, we got to get moving here. All right. The way that it works is that's our record against the spread for the season. That's not record pick. That is our record against the spread. If you add them up very quickly, I'll do the math. I think we're 41-31 if you add it up. So
yes.
I mean, that's pretty good against the spread. If you can add all our picks up, we are 41-31. And what do the points mean? You're asked, Jim Derry. Well, we have this little game between us where it is point differential. Whatever we pick, if you pick the Saints this week, they're getting 14, and the Saints lose by 7, you would get a +7. If you pick the Saints this week and they lose by 21, you would get a -7. So that's where the points come from. I am 17-7 against the spread, so you know that I'm bound for bad weeks, which is why I'm enjoying it now. +76. UBN's 13-11, minus 10.5. And Gabe, he's come out of the depths of hell. He's 11-13 against the spread for the season, minus 28.5. Okay.
And if he wasn't here last week, this is what's fun about the game. Jim was ahead of me by 1 point.
That's right.
It was 30-29.
That's right. So I take nothing
Now
for granted.
Now it's this.
I'm going to enjoy it while I can. All right, we're going to start with the loser this week, the clown, UBN. He is up and down like a roller coaster. He had a terrible week, so he's probably going to have a good week. And his only goal, to let y'all know, is to not have the black and gold under his name. Black and gold means you were mediocre. The fire means you were first, and the blue means you were last. So he either wants to have blue or the fire. He's been pretty good at it. We'll see what he gets this week. I'll let you talk about your picks, and I'm really interested to hear in your logic for this first one.
I gotta get this song jinx out my head. So this has got to be it.
Uncle Bidnick, can we make some picks today? Mom, can we please?
Three and 7 minus 97 points when that song's played.
I had to do it.
3 and 7 minus 97.
Do it. All right, start with your picks. Cal plus 4.5 over Virginia.
Cal's a pretty decent team. Virginia's been hanging on by a thread. They won by 2 inches over North Carolina last week. They won by 2 points the week before. This is the first time Virginia has to travel and go, play a game in a different time zone all the way across country. I just think this Cal team puts up a fight. Cal's biggest bugaboo is they turn the ball over. If they can keep it clean here, I think they can actually beat Virginia.
This one scares me. Again, I get going across the country, but I think Virginia is actually pretty decent. And I don't know, every time Cal usually plays when on a Friday night after I go call a game and go sit in the bar and have a salad for dinner at 10 o'clock at night. Cal's usually on the screen playing a Friday night game, so I don't know what it's going to be like them from playing on a Saturday afternoon. I just think this is a weird pick, but anyway, I'm not against it. I'm not.
I got to get weird.
All right.
I like the pick.
And speaking of, how does Gabe do this? What is it? There it is. Square. Hip to be square. He's picking the Texas Longhorns minus 2.5.
You're talking about the other one
against Vandy, and you know what? I'm kind of digging it. I like it. Your explanation.
Vandy can't score against the Missouri defense. How they go score against this Texas defense? Seriously. Texas has a great defense. Vandy's coming off.
Why didn't you take the under then?
I almost did. I was so close to taking the under, but Texas may score.
What is the under?
40. It's 44.5. I think it was. It's too low. That's 27-20. Like I can't go that route. But I think Texas can definitely win by a field goal. Vandy's coming off of beating LSU, that drag out, dumb, low scoring Missouri game. Like, I just think Vandy's got to run out of steam here. They're a good team. Pavia is a good quarterback, but they haven't seen the likes of a Texas defense and Texas offensive line and stuff. So I really think Archer's in concussion thing, it doesn't really matter to me if he plays or not. It might be better if he doesn't play. But he's been looking better in the second halves of games. So I just think they can come out and beat Vandy.
Ryan's got a point. Mississippi State scored on Texas.
They did. Mississippi State did score in Texas and then lost.
That's true. Not by much. All right. Lastly, you go into the Big Ten, IU, the fighting Hoosiers. Everybody's crowning them as the national champion already. Over 50.5 against Maryland. What do you like there?
The thing I like about this game is Indiana's never going to stop scoring. They're not going to take their foot off the gas. Cinetti wants to just kill everybody just to show that he can do it. And it's just, they might score 51 by themselves. Maryland's a decent team, but they don't have the firepower to keep up with Indiana. And Indiana is a 21-point favorite. I can see a backdoor cover here. They're winning by like 17, but I definitely think Indiana's scoring in the 40s. So I just need Maryland to put up 13 to 17 points, and I think this is an easy one.
All right. I don't have a lot of feelings about all your picks. I guess I would say I'm not against any of them. I don't love the Cal pick, but I would definitely. I like Texas. I do like Texas.
I like them all.
It's super square though. It's super square.
Square worked for Gabe and you last week, so I mean, I got to do something.
Yep. All right, Square Henderson's turn. He's gonna.
Hey, can you look up what the percentages on Texas? Probably while Jim's talking later.
Yeah, I can do that.
Well, speaking of Square Henderson, the whole time he was just shaking his head when I was giving my thought process to Tulane. He couldn't wait. He's picking UTSA, and the fact that he's picking them +6, I guess you think they have a chance to win this game tonight.
I don't necessarily
get weird on Thursday nights.
They do,
especially when the team's at home.
And first, I was shaking my head because I don't like the disrespect of Eric Morris, Drew Mestamaker, and the UNT.
Oh, the disrespect.
I will say no. Eric Morris is in line to get a Power 4 job, and Drew has to make.
I'm not going to let you get away with disrespecting North Texas.
I will not let you talk poorly about the North Texas Mean Green.
What you know about Denton, Texas?
I know that I don't want to go there.
No, you don't. Back to this pick though. So here's my reasoning. UTSA has won 23 consecutive home games in conference, and they've covered in the last 7 of them. Before the season started, I had UTSA winning this game outright. I don't think they win this game outright, but I do think they make it ugly. Tulane has really struggled on the road this year, and I think especially getting 6, because Jim will know I made this pick at 5.5. I love the fact that I'm getting 6 here.
I think John Summerall is ready to kick some butt and get that big job that he's been waiting.
You know what? Here's the thing. This is a win-win for me because I actually, as everyone knows, I have Tulane to make the playoff in a future at plus 880. So if they want to do that, that's fine by me.
All right, I love your second pick. It's actually I actually had it on my best bets, and the last minute I took it off and I changed it out. You've got Dallas minus 2.5 against the Cardinals. Square Henderson strikes again, but I really like it again. I don't know what's going on. I'm with the square picks. Something that happened.
Favorites were 11-2 last week in the NFL.
I don't know what's going on.
Spread. So,
man, they say Vegas never loses. They lost last week, and they might lose here. Cowboys minus 2.5 on at home, right there at home.
Yeah,
on Monday Night Football.
Loses 2 weeks in a row.
So they're saying Dallas and Arizona are basically even teams. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think this is an overreaction to what happened to Dallas last week. I think last week was just a bad day at the office for the Cowboys. I think offensively, Arizona's not going to be able to keep up. I think Dallas is just going to blitz them.
I agree, and they might not get to them. And I looked at the over was
nobody confuses the Arizona defense with the Denver defense either.
No.
And nobody confuses playing in zona and playing in mile high. So I mean, this makes no sense.
Yeah, I was just amazed that I was getting this line.
Anyway, I really like that pick again. It was going to, if I would have had a 4th pick, that definitely would have been it. I don't really like this one. I can't wait to hear your explanation. Seahawks minus 3 over a Washington team that I think is getting Jaden Daniels back this week.
He's practicing.
They are, but Seattle is excellent on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle, I'd have to look up the trend because that's one I didn't have prepared. But they've been excellent on the road under Mike McDaniel.
And they've been bad at home, which is weird.
And they've been bad at home, and then Terry McLaurin's still out for Washington. Jaden Daniels is coming back, but I don't know how much of a spark this offense has. They can't run the ball very well. They're really old on both sides of the ball. This is a weird team.
You can't bet against a guy named McCroskey. It's just something about McCroskey, Merritt, whatever the hell his name is.
McCroskey, yeah. Bill McCroskey.
You can never bet against somebody with 3 names.
I know. Little Bill.
Remember Westbrook Akine last year scored 7 straight games or something like that?
What's the deal with Washington and all them? They like lots of names.
That was Tennessee.
Well,
by the way, Preacher Man says UBM was on fire until I started playing the song.
I know. He knows how to get me, Preacher Man.
Ryan says he does think Texas will win, even though he doesn't love the pick. Rob says Virginia all day and an overreaction. He's just hating on our picks. Rob says an overreaction to Kyler Murray coming back. Maybe he's with you. I don't know what he means there. All right. Anyway, so you got
line's an overreaction to Murray.
Okay,
that's what he's saying.
Seahawks minus 3 over the Washington Commanders is Gabe's last pick. All right.
Yep.
Sure to there's no way. I mean, you go 3-0 and usually you kind of.
You've been waiting for a 3-0. You've been 2-1 forever.
I had a 3-0 earlier this season.
I'm just waiting to get out of the negative. I would love to have another week like I did last.
I'm hoping.
I'm negative.
Yeah, I'm just. I
was like -6.
I just want look. Yeah. I'll take a 2-1 plus.
I'll take an 0-3 from you. Be nice.
I know you would love that, but I don't see it happening. Here's my picks for the week. We're gonna start. It's an AFC South smorgasbord.
Where is that
pick.
One?
AFC South smorgasbord. And I'm going to start off with the Texans minus 1.5. Gabe's Texans minus 1.5 over the Broncos. And again, I'm going to tell you what I tell you about Miami. If the Texans screw this up, Gabe, you have every right to tell me I am not going to allow you to put the Texans in your mouth ever again. Denver played a really bad Cowboys defense last week. Made it look good. They got the luckiest of lucky the week before that. Now they're on the road for the first time since October the 12th. It's their first true road test since they lost to the Los Angeles Chargers on September 21st. You're starting to see a few holes here and there in Bo Nix's game, unless he's playing the Cowboys, but everybody smokes
the Giants.
Well, that was just the fourth quarter, really.
Yeah, I know. But
anyway, I think Houston is primed to make a mini run before they have to run the gauntlet coming up in a few weeks of Bills, Colts, and Chiefs in 3 consecutive weeks. It's now or never for the Texans. They're either going to crawl into a hole and win like 6 games this year, or they're going to get hot. And I think they get hot. I think they win this game at home against the Denver Broncos, and I think they win by at least a touchdown. I still don't think the Broncos are as good as everybody thinks they are.
I kind of like the under in this game because I love Houston's defense. But I like this pick with Surtain out. Surtain out changes that defense for Denver,
Nico
too.
Collins back.
Nico Collins is back.
They're going to be all over Cortland Sutton, so they're going to force.
But the thing that scares me on this game with Houston is their offensive line trying to protect Stroud against that defensive line of Denver. That's the only thing that gives me pause on this pick.
Well, here's one thing they did last week that really helped against the Niners is they ran a lot of plays with the 6th offensive lineman because they have no tight end depth. They've had like 3 tight ends injured this year. So it's pretty much just, I think it's Harrison Bryant is the backup tight end behind Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz does block. So they kicked an extra offensive lineman out, and they've been able to move the ball really well with 6 offensive linemen on the field.
It helps that the Niners have like 72 players on injured too.
Preacher wants to know, didn't I win last year? I don't know. Did I win?
Yeah.
I know.
Who brought that up?
Preacher Man.
For
He
what?
said, didn't I
Why?
win last year?
Why you got to bring up old shit?
Bill says Denver field goal wins. I don't know. Sean also says he can see the Commanders reaching out to Saints for Kamara. That maybe, but I don't know if the Commanders are good enough to be a buyer. Are the Commanders really good enough to be a buyer? I don't know. All right, moving on. Look, you want to talk about square. This might be the squarest pick of the year. This might literally be, in fact, they might call me, I should have wore my SpongeBob SquarePants costume this week because the Colts Steelers over 50.5. You simply can't.
Is this in pick?
You simply can't pick the under. Here's the Colts, by the way. We're doing it again, by the way. We're picking the Steelers in an over game. Indy's team total the past 3 weeks, 38, 38, and 40. Now, I was skeptical, but how do you not start believing in Danny Dimes? You know, I've also worried that the Steelers' defense is just not that good. Maybe it was just Jordan Love saying, you know what, I want to kick some butt, whatever it is. I think on the other side, though, Aaron Rodgers knows that the only way that he's going to be able to keep up with this Colts team is to match him. So I just think both teams are going to score here. Wouldn't surprise me at all if both are in the low 30s. And I think this is going to be one of the fun games of the week. Colts and Steelers. I could easily see a 34-31 kind of game.
Do we have anything on the Colts playing outside?
You can if you want.
No, I'm saying I bet to look. I never looked it up on how they play outside.
They just beat the hell out of Tennessee.
Colts results.
I don't know who else they played out.
All right, let's see. Colts on the road. Well, they played that at Indianapolis.
Yeah, I think they played a lot inside this year.
They beat the Chargers on the road by 14. They were home against the Cardinals. They were home against the Raiders. They lost on the road at the Rams. And you're right, September 21st at the Titans. They beat the hell out of them. They scored 41.
Game, I think.
That is the only outdoor game there. They've only played one outdoor game so far this year.
I don't think. Can I say something?
Yeah.
I think Jonathan Taylor deserves the MVP right now.
Yes.
I don't know.
I mean, he had 18.
He's got 14 touchdowns.
What about Colts? Sean says Colts are going to smoke the Steelers. All right, my last pick. I'm going to the.
Hey, check that Texas.
I don't hardly ever.
Got it for you.
Y'all know that I don't like the Jaguars. Y'all know that I don't like Trevor Lawrence. However, normally when a line stinks,
you hate Pete Carroll more though.
Probably so. Normally when a line stinks, I go with the stinky side. This line This line stinks. This line stinks. I should be taking the Raiders here, but you know what? Give me some fresh scent. Give me cotton in the spring. Give me Trevor Lawrence's golden locks, baby. The Jags have been really good at stopping the run this season. If that holds, they should be able to put some clamps down on Ashton Genty and put the games on the shoulder of Geno Smith.
It's really not hard to clamp down Genty.
I don't know. I'm just saying. If they're putting the game on the shoulders of Geno Smith, give me Jacksonville, who should be ready to go after 2 losses and a bye week. They also know that if they're going to even think about catching the Colts, they got to get stuff going. I don't often pick Duval, but I'm doing it here. Give me the Jags -2.5 against the Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Oakland, California, Nevada Raiders, whatever the hell you want to call them. The fighting Marcus Allens, whatever.
The top 5 pick.
Top 5 pick. Oh, that brings up I'm glad y'all brought that up.
So I was going to have this one on. It took everything in me not to put this on my card. This line is stinky as hell.
El Stinko.
And I just couldn't bring myself to pick it because something's up.
It is stinky. It should be like -5 or something.
Yeah,
like
I don't know why the Raiders are getting any respect.
To answer UBN's question though, you wanted to know how many percent of people bet Texas?
Yeah.
The line has moved to -3, so it's only 27% of people have bet Texas.
Still 2.5, I think, at DraftKings.
I'm looking at BetMGM where you can get the numbers.
Real quick before I let y'all go, who put this out? I meant to say who put this out and I forgot. It's the Athletic. This is from the Athletic. Okay. According to the Athletic, there's been lots of talk on the Saints and whether they'll get the number 1 pick this year. They do. They have their playoff wrong slide. They have their playoff predictor, and they use their playoff predictor to use the projected draft order for the New Orleans Saints and just the top 5 picks. So, what do y'all think? We're gonna ask a question today. What do you think the odds are according to the Athletic and their playoff predictor, which is the same thing that the New York Times uses when they're predicting like the presidential, who's going to win the presidential poll, who's going to all their politics stuff. They use the same formula and all that stuff. Those predicted things pretty good actually. So, what do you think the percentage is that the Saints get the number 1 pick? UBN.
Probably 47%.
Gabe.
16.
Were you cheating?
No.
It's 16.
Oh, wow.
All right. Now, if you get this one right, who do you think is number 1?
Tennessee.
I don't want to say anything until Gabe guesses.
Yeah. I have a little less time to think with this one. It might be the Raiders.
The number 1 pick percentage is 44% that the New York Jets get the number 1 pick.
I thought that was too obvious.
The Titans are 28%. The Saints are 16%. Dolphins 4%. And the Raiders are 2%. Bill says the Saints will not get the first pick. I got to be honest. I'd be very surprised if the Saints get the first pick.
I think the Titans have a tougher schedule than the Jets, maybe.
Top 5 pick, Jets 93%, Titans 87%, Saints 73%, Dolphins 46%, Raiders 40%. And then a top 10 pick, the Saints, by the way, are 95% according to the Athletic to have a top pick. I think it's 99.999999999.
Definitely not 0.0.
It is definitely the opposite, almost the opposite. Not quite.
Hey, I got a question before we go.
What?
Is Ohtani underpaid?
What about Vlad?
Talking about the nature of his contract, or
yeah, it's.
what
about Vladdy?
Vladdy too. Vladdy's gonna get paid. Like he's gonna get really
how about
paid.
Alejandro Kirk?
Yeah, I mean, why not?
And has there ever been a season? If we could look this up maybe for next time, where the Florida, Penn State, and LSU job were always were open?
That's a good question.
I mean, that's like top 5 jobs in the country.
It happened, but it's been a while.
3 of the top 5 jobs in the country.
Joe Pye had the job for what, 50 years?
Yeah.
So,
probably not.
Yeah, I don't think Penn State's a top 5 job in the country. Top 10, not top 5.
Pretty close. Anyway, Florida State's definitely not a top 5 job.
Florida
State.
Florida State.
Oh no, I was talking about Florida.
Okay, because that's going to open up too. Florida State's going to open up too.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. I will see y'all next week back on our regular Friday slot. Enjoy your weekend. You freaking clown. Clowns. They're clowns. I don't want to send in y'all know what I think about clowns. Send in the clowns. Anyway. Ryan wants to know any chance that Marcel Reed comes out this season. You were called crazy the other day saying it would be number 1 overall. Oh, he's not a number 1 overall pick. No. Sean says he can see Brian Kelly's not going to Penn State. Brian Kelly's never getting a good job again. And when I say good job, I mean like primo job where he's going to have a chance to win. I'm sorry if I'm having trouble with the comment thing again. Preacher Man says the Saints will get a 3rd pick. Yeah, Sean, Kelly's not going to get a good job anymore. And Gabe says Marcel Reed is a true sophomore. He cannot declare. Chad, you're just trying to press my buttons. Coach Gucci, though. Come on, man. You trying to be the clown? We already had one clown on this show today. Oh, how about that for a Thursday? I'm just glad that y'all all here. And y'all must have the little bell clicked to know that we go on the air live. One of our regulars was asking me yesterday, you didn't have a show yesterday? I've been saying it. I said it for like a week. That we're going to do Monday and Thursday this week. Tom says Stanford has an opening. Maybe Kelly ends up there. I can see him going to UCLA. I don't know. You're trying for dumb. All right, Chad. There you go. Chad Gage is the dumbass of the week. Congratulations, sir. You want to be named the dumbass of the week? Congratulations. Go put a clown mask on and just jaunt around your neighborhood. Congratulations. Goody for you. I'm not really mad. I mean, it's Thursday. I'm going to have a 3-day weekend. Programming note, speaking of that, next week we will have our regular schedule Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You see the next live show is here Monday, November the 3rd, 11 a.m. Central Time. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday next week. And then after next Sunday, the Saints are going on a bye. We will have Mono-y Monday. I'm not gonna hose you out of Mono-y Monday. But then I'm gonna take a little time off. We're gonna have we won't have 3 shows in a row. We're gonna take off. We're gonna take a week off. I have got time built up that I've got to use before the end of the year, or I lose it. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm not keen to just like giving my vacation days away. So I figured that was the best time to go the week of the Saints bye week. I know it is. Let's see. Who does LSU play that week? I don't remember. I don't know. LSU football schedule. They play Arkansas that week. So we won't be around for that. Anyway, so next week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The following week, we'll do Mono-y Monday. And then we won't be here for Wednesday, Friday, and the following Monday. Got it? And then we'll be back the Wednesday after that. I am going to take some time off. So that's coming up soon. Who dat? Record says I need claps and applause for dumbass. You're right. I do. You know what? I actually thought about this, and I am going to have some kind of thing. The only problem is if you have a presentation for something like that, dumbass of the week, then you actually have people who are trying to be and I know Chad's joking there, so he's a regular and he's just being goofy, so I don't mind that. But then you had you're inviting trolls, okay? I am trying to cut down on trollage. We're doing better, and I know I don't show them. That usually does it. So if I have a dumbass of the week presentation, like the song for UBN, I could make some kind of dumbass of the week song. But then you're going to get people who troll on purpose and try to get it. Charles Mangus, great show again. Thank you, sir. That is going to do it for us on this Thursday edition. What are y'all doing for Halloween? Randall's here. Good evening, fellas. Speaking of evening, I will be again in the parish tonight. I'm going to go to, you know where? If you're going to the parish, where do you go to eat at the parish? I'm just saying. I will be there this afternoon before my game. So 5-ish, if you want to come say hello, you can come say hello. I will be there with some of my production mates. You know where to go. I mean, do I really need to give Rocky and Carlos a free plug? Anyway, that's where I'm going to be this afternoon. If you're in the area and you want to come say hello to me in person, there's your chance. I will be there around 5 o'clock or so. You can come tell me hello. But we're going to say goodbye for today. I want to thank Damon Singleton. I want to thank Zach Ewing. I want to thank Gabe Henderson. I want to thank the clown of the day, UBN. And of course, I want to thank all of you for being a part of the Dat family. We are growing. Every show is growing. I appreciate you for being a part of the family. I know I keep saying this. I really am trying to do more shorts. So I'm going to have an instant reaction after this week's show. There you go. I'm going to force myself into it. We will have an instant reaction after the Saints-Rams game on Sunday evening. So make sure to look out for that. It'll be on the YouTube page. It'll probably be on my own personal Facebook page, which you can subscribe to. And you can find us on TikTok. All those places for the shorts. A reminder, though, to subscribe to our Dattitude YouTube page. Again, click the little bell. If we go in a weird time, you always know whether we're going to be on the air or not. Give us a like if you haven't done that. They say it helps the algorithm. I don't know how, but then I'm not smart enough to understand how. So you can also find us wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple, Spotify, and many more. And always find a replay of the show on NOLA.com/sports. You can find me on bet.NOLA.com. You can find our Saints Insiders on NOLA.com/Saints, our LSU Insiders on NOLA.com/sports/LSU. And you can find us back here on Monday. Until then, everyone, have a fantastic, glorious, wonderful evening and weekend. Roll wave. Go Saints. We'll see you Monday. Take it easy, my friends.